Okay, today's video is on box plots and IQR. So, by the end of this video, I will be able to identify the 5-number summary, construct a box plot, and calculate the IQR. So our goal is to have these 3 things done. So let's take a look at our notes first. A box plot is another way to display statistical data. In order to construct a box plot, we first need to know the 5-number summary. And just so you know, a box plot is also called a box and whisker plot. And they mean the same thing. Okay? So they're interchangeable. So, 5-number summary. We have the minimum, which is the lowest value in the data set. The first quartile, or Q1, the median of the lower half of the data. The median, which is the middle data number. The third quartile, or Q3, the median of the upper half of the data. And then the maximum, which is the highest value in the data set. And now all of these things we're going to use our calculator to find, so don't be too worried. And then we also have to talk about IQR. And IQR is the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. And the formula, I guess, for it is Q3 minus Q1, your upper quartile minus your lower quartile. Okay, and upper quartile means the same thing as the third quartile, and lower quartile means the same thing as the first quartile. So those are just some words that are used interchangeably. So if you need to, pause the video, rewind the video, make sure you have all of these notes copied down, and then when you're ready, we're going to move on, or you're going to move on by hitting play, and we're going to take a look at the steps. So, the steps for constructing a box plot. Step 1, find the 5-number summary. Use your calculator to help you. Step 2, draw a number line that covers the range of the data. Step 3, draw a vertical line at each of the numbers from the 5-number summary. And step 4, draw the box and whiskers. And now that sounds a little confusing, box and whiskers, what? But don't worry, when we do an example, you'll see exactly what that means. So, let's take a look at that example. Construct a box plot for the given information and find the interquartile range. Shown below are the scores 16 students received on a math quiz. Okay, and there's your data. I'm not going to read it all to you. So, the first thing is we need to find the 5-number summary. So, we need to identify our minimum, our Q1, our median, our Q3, and our maximum. So, take out your calculators. And this is exactly what we did with the measures of central tendency. We're going to go to Stat, hit Edit. Remember, if you have anything in L1 or L2, clear it out. And then we're going to type in our data values. 52, 60, 66, 66, 68, 72, 72, 73, 74, 75, 80, 82, 84, 91, 92, and lastly, 98. And then if you remember the steps from measures of central tendency, we go back to Stat, go over to Calc, and we're going to choose one var stats and hit Enter. My list is in L1. I do not have a frequency list, so I'm going to hit Calculate. And on your screen, there are all your different, important values. So remember, you can scroll up and down. So I'm going to scroll using my arrows down, and there is my 5-number summary. My minimum is 52, Q1 is 67, median 73.5, Q3 83, and maximum 98. So I'm going to go back and copy it down, just as you should, onto your worksheet. 52, 67, 73.5, 83, and 98. So now that we have our 5-number summary, we're going to draw a number line that covers the entire range of the data. So if you take a look, obviously we have our minimum, which is 52, and our maximum, which is 98. So my number line needs to go all the way from 52 to 98. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count by 5s. So I'm going to start at 50 and count by 5s. You can choose a different, interval, but just make sure that you have all of them accounted for. All right, so now I have my number line done. So now I'm going to draw a vertical line at each of the numbers in the 5-number summary. 52, which is between 50 and 55. 67, between 65 and 70. 73.5, between 70 and 75. 83 is between 80 and 85. And 98 all the way at the end over here, between 95 and 100. So now there was that step. Draw the box and the whiskers. So the box is you connect the 3 vertical lines in the middle, and that's the box. And then you extend these to form your whiskers. So you connect the box to the outside vertical lines, and those are your whiskers. That's it. So there we have our box and whisker plot. And then if you go back to the question, they also wanted us to find the interquartile range. Okay, and our interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. So in our case, Q3 was 83 and Q1 was 67. So let's go back to my calculator. I'm going to type in exactly what we just wrote. 83 minus 67, 16. So my IQR is 16, and we're done. All right, so our next example, this time the box plot's given, but we need to do a little analysis of it. So it says the speeds in miles per hour of 24 cars on a particular road are recorded and represented on the box and whiskers diagram shown below. Answer each of the following questions based on this diagram. So before you even look at the questions, look at the box and whisker plot, or the box plot. Now if you see we have 20, 30, 40, and 50 marked off on our x-axis. I think the first thing you should automatically do, fill in those in between numbers. The tick marks obviously count by 2s. So 22, 24, 26, 28, and so on, because I think this is going to make it easier for you when you go to answer those questions. The other thing I think you should do is mark off. We know that this is our minimum. This is our Q1, our median, Q3, and our maximum. And now let's take a look at those questions. Part A. What is the range of this data set? Remember, the range means the maximum minus the minimum. So our maximum is here, and that's in between 44 and 46, so it's 45 minus. Our minimum is over here, and that's right at 24. So 45 minus 24, 21. We're done. Part B. What's the maximum speed of the 24 drivers? Well, right here, we already talked about it. The maximum is at 45. So let me scroll down a little bit so that way we can fill it in. 45 miles per hour. And then lastly, part C, how many drivers drove between 30 and 42 miles per hour? So if we go to our box plot, 30 is right here, 42 is right here. So it's between Q1 and Q3. and that actually contains 50% of the data. So we know that there were 24 drivers, so 50% of 24, which is half of 24, 50% is half. So 24 times 0.5 gives me 12. So I know that there were 12 drivers that drove between 30 and 42 miles per hour. Okay? So that's the end of this video. You have seen how to construct a box plot. We have talked about the 5-number summary, and we have learned how to calculate IQR. So you have hopefully achieved your goal. If not, rewind, replay it, whatever you need to do, and then hopefully we'll be able to do some practice problems. Alrighty, good luck.